If you are African American, genealogical research may seem like an impossible task. While it can be a challenge, Ocean County Library has some resources and tips to make discovering your family history a little bit easier. If you visit theoceancountylibrary.org and go to Resources Databases, you can find our selection of genealogy and history resources. If you're at home, you can use Heritage Quest, but if you are in the Ocean County Library building, you can use Ancestry Library Edition, which will have access to some more files. Always begin your genealogical research with the living. Collect names, dates, and locations of residence, birth dates, and death dates from any living relatives that you may have, and any information that they may know on those who have already passed on. Start by finding your family in the 1940 census records, which are the latest released for public viewing. We are going to begin our search with Fraser Robinson, born in 1912. When I find a matching record, I'm going to want to open it up to look at the details and make sure that all of the family members match up. This can help me confirm that I'm looking at the right person. I can also take down any extra information that I may have been missing. Selecting the picture of the census will let you view the record. Once you're in there, you can take a look at the information from nearby households. Keep this in mind. This may be important later on. From here, trace backwards census by census. Watch for other family members to make sure you have the correct person and keep track of the family's location. Once you reach the 1870 census, you have reached your first goalpost. Now the next 10 years back in time may get a little bit trickier. First, check the 1850 and 1860 census because your ancestors may have been free people of color. Also, check the records of the Freedmen's Bureau, which kept track of refugees and freedmen starting in 1865. If your ancestor was emancipated before the end of the Civil War, you may be interested in searching emancipation records from your ancestor. They may also appear in military records. If not, then you'll need to find a slaveholder. To access these different collections, go to New Collections and then search the title Freedmen to pull up the Freedmen Bureau records. Also, you can search the word Emancipation to pull up any emancipation records. If they don't appear in these records, you may need to identify a slaveholder, a sometimes challenging task. Look over the 1870 census and check for white families living nearby, especially those with the same last name. This was a custom during the time for newly free families to sometimes take the same surname as their previous slaveholders, but not always. You can also keep an eye on moving patterns. For example, if your ancestor was born in one state and then found later elsewhere, look to see if any white families nearby exhibited the same relocation. Once you have identified a slaveholder, you can then look into their records to hopefully locate earlier records of your ancestor. Let's check out what some of those records would be. Property and probate records. If the slaveholder died before the end of the Civil War, the enslaved would be listed in their estate record. You may also find court deeds listing transfers of ownership. To access slave schedules, go to Census Records and then hit View All. You will find slave schedules from the 1850 and 1860 census. If you open these up, we can search for Francis Withers, a white slaveholder. When we view his record, it will include the amount of people that he enslaved, as well as their gender and age, and hopefully we can match that up to ancestors we're seeking, such as the Robinsons. From there, we encourage you to seek ship records or newspaper articles that may mention your ancestor using our databases. For example, New York Times Archives by ProQuest has articles dating back to 1851, like this one about a man who escaped slavery, Edwin Moore. Thank you for joining me. Today in our example, we trace back the Robinson family to a plantation owned by Francis Withers in South Carolina. The family was freed, eventually relocated to Chicago, and then bore the descendant named Michelle in 1964, who would eventually marry and be known as First Lady Michelle Obama. If you need more help on your research journey, please stop in at any one of our 21 locations during open hours to start. If you need help, we have librarians on staff, and you can also email, call, chat, or text us.
Support public libraries. Like, share, and subscribe for more great videos.